What is going on, everyone? Roughneck2 Charlie here, and I'm back, and this time I'm coming back to you with some more Sea of Thieves information. However, this isn't real information. What you're seeing right now, this is gameplay from this past E3, since Sea of Thieves is still under the current NDA with Microsoft and everything like that. But what this video is about is things that I would like to see added to Sea of Thieves. And these things I think would be monumental as far as like the gameplay and everything like that. But I'll get into all the details as we go along. So without further ado, here is my top 5 things that should be added to Sea of Thieves. Alright, the first thing on my list is a Malstrom, which is obviously commonly known as like a vortex or a giant whirlpool. If you've seen the Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, at the very end of the movie, the giant battle that takes place, that's what a Malstrom is. Anyway, now I think this would be a fun addition to the Sea of Thieves. Picture yourself, you're out, you're on a nice quiet voyage, there's no ships in sight, but suddenly there's a break in the waterline dead ahead. And as you get closer, that's when you find out that it's one of these large whirlpools. This will give players an incentive to just keep an eye out more because, you know, sometimes when I'm riding on the boat or the ship, there's stuff to do, but there's not stuff to do at the same time. So I think this would give you a little bit extra to do as you're going along, you know, and exploring. So basically what I'm thinking is this will be a manageable situation, okay? And basically you can sail out of these, but it's going to take a lot of coordination as a part of your team or your crew. And basically, you're going to have the person steering as well as the rest of the crew trying to keep your winds in the sails. And obviously, with a lot of good coordination, you'll simply spin around a couple times. It makes for some fun animation as well. You know, your whole ship just spinning around a couple times. But if you're good, you'll spin around, you'll sail right out, and you'll continue on your way. However, if you don't work together, and that's what Sea of Thieves is all about, it's about working together. So here's your chance to really work together and try and get out. Because if you don't, it's going to suck your ship down, and it's going to sink your ship instantly. And not only that, but I believe that your loot should be lost forever. Next up on the list is sea serpents. Alright, which basically is just like a giant sea snake. And it would be a great addition. So there's already been teases, and you can see in pictures and stuff like that they've shown of Sea of Thieves that there could be a kraken that will grab your ship and destroy it if you don't fight it off. But here's where sea serpents come in. They won't be a danger to your ship, but rather a danger to your crew and to your loot. So this is where how I see it playing out scenario-wise with sea serpents. Okay, so again, you're traveling along, enjoying a few drinks, and obviously if you're drinking an out-of-tune melody with your crewmate, when a sea serpent suddenly jumps out, grabs your ship, okay, they're not going to be huge. They're not going to be to the point to where, you know, I mean, you could even just simply Google sea serpents like I did, and you'll see pictures of some of them that are just wrapped around ships, and they could totally sink them. But I'm talking the smaller ones, like the pictures shown here, and basically it jumps out, latches itself to your ship in one way or another, okay, and then obviously you have to fight it off. But while it's latched, you won't take any damage to your ship, but basically it could grab your crewmates, throw them off into the water, and it could, or just knock them off, you know, with like a blowback feature, or it could do the same to your loot. And that's one of the things that I think would be huge, is because it would be a fun surprise, first of all, but it actually would make you think long and hard where you put your loot. And it's not just because right now when it comes to putting your loot down, you're more worried about will somebody find it, not is it safe for the whole trip, just will somebody find it. So I think that would be a great gameplay change by adding sea serpents into the game. Next up on the list is the great white whale. Now, we've all heard of the legend of Moby Dick. However, this legend of the great white whale that destroys ships goes back long before it was made famous to the world by Herman Melville. With an addition of a great white whale that slams into your ship would make daily travel that much harder. Alright, you would risk losing your ship quite quickly, considering, you know, you got this large whale and it would do a large amount of damage each time it hit you. But it wouldn't be like constantly hitting you, you know. It would hit you and have to swing around, and it would give you time, and it would give your crew time to make sure that you repaired all the holes, bucketed out all the water, and got everything tied up so your ship wouldn't sink, and you would have to head to shallower waters. Otherwise, you're headed to the depths, and you risk the chance of losing your loot there as well. So I think a great white whale would really make for almost like a great juggernaut that would keep people from just sailing across the middle of the ocean. It would keep you closer to the islands, and maybe even being closer to these islands would make people want to get off more often and, explore each island, even though it may not be your destination or where you need to go. It would make people be closer to them, explore them more, and this would really help also with basically getting plenty of supplies for your ship and everything like that. And I think with something like this, maybe if you're willing to be able to fight back, maybe hit it with a few cannon rounds or other weapons that might be added to the game later on. Maybe it's something to where you could get something from it and turn it into an outpost or something and get some loot, get something to show that you conquered one of the behemoths of the ocean. So I think something like that would be really fun to be added into Sea of Thieves. The fourth thing on the list will not be taking place at sea. I know with the last three features, I've mainly focused on what kind of dangers you could face while sailing, especially considering that's where you spend most of the majority of your time. However, I do feel as though the land-based combat seems to be a bit lacking a true sense of fear when it comes to the adversaries that you face. With that being said, the next feature that I would like to be added to Sea of Thieves would be iguana monsters. Now, these iguana monsters are actually quite prevalent in pirate lore, and they're even used as an adversary in one of the Jack Sparrow stories, the Sword of Cortez. So not only will you have to face the dangers of the skeletons popping out of the ground, but also a larger, more dangerous creature that will take more than one of you to bring down. This will definitely make you think twice about shooting yourself out of a cannon and trying to just find everything on the island, all the clues, or start digging right away while the rest of your crew's still parking the ship. So I also think this will slow down the gameplay enough to where you're spending a little bit more time on land, and then you have more of a chance of other ships showing up, more land-based PvP, and everything like that. So I think it would be a great addition to have iguana monsters in Sea of Thieves. Last but not least on my list is curses. Yes, curses. Now, pirate lore is filled with all different kinds of curses. Now, you can have all kinds of curses, whether they're crew specific, depending on if you did a certain mission, or if you have a certain chest, or you could even have server-wide curses. And one of those that I'd like to focus on right now is known as the Curse of Muertos Moon. Now, if anyone's seen Pirates of the Caribbean again, you would know that in the very first movie, that's basically what we're looking at, okay? So basically, under Muertos Moon, your entire crew, or basically every single crew, will become skeletons. Now, this is where curses could become very interesting, and it could be more than just a visual effect. It will actually have an effect on gameplay. First thing I could think of is that there could be buffs to your health or melee. However, you don't have anything inside you. You don't have any innards. So eating banana wouldn't do you very much good when it comes to regaining health. So you'd be stronger and faster, and all that stuff, but at the same time, you wouldn't be able to regain health. This would also make for some very interesting PvP battles. But the most significant thing that I think something like a Curse of Muertos Moon could make on the gameplay would make it for your inability to swim. Now, you don't have any flesh on your bones, so think about it. How well do you think you could tread water? Now, also think about how quickly players are to just jump in a cannon and try and shoot themselves onto another ship, or shoot themselves onto land. And, most of the time, you miss. And this would bring ship battles so much closer together. You wouldn't want to be shooting yourself out of a cannon just to miss, land in the water, and sink and drown. This will also play into previously mentioned features in this list. You don't always have to be in battle to end up in the water. You could be on an island searching for loot when the moon arises and it curses your crew. And basically, you're stranded. Unless you parked your ship very conveniently, you're stuck on that island. And not only are you going to be stuck on the island with the skeletons, but now these larger, more aggressive, and more dangerous iguana monsters, and you won't have the ability to heal with your bananas. It's also going to work out with the sea serpents. Say you're out sailing in the middle of the night, the moon arises, you become cursed, and you hit a sea serpent, and you're pulled off your ship. And basically all you can do is you're left to sink and drown. And this works as well with the great white whale. Like I said, there could be a blowback feature with that whale, so when it hits your ship, it blows your crew to the other side of the ship, or it could even blow you off the backside of the ship, and basically into the water you go. And the only thing you can really hope for is that a shark makes your trip to the ferry of the dam come that much sooner. Yes, I know, you don't have lungs, so how could you drown, right? Well, so I figure with a feature like this, unless you want to be walking around on the sea floor until daylight, something has to kill you. We gotta have kind of some leeway there. But I think curses, especially a server-wide curse, would make for a huge gameplay change and would be a ton of fun in Sea of Thieves. Anyway, that does it for my top 5 things that I would like to see put into Sea of Thieves. Now, I know there's tons of lists out there, and there's so many more things that we could talk about. There's honorable mentions like dinghies and smaller boats and more weapons and bosses, and the list could go on and on and on. But the good thing is right now, Sea of Thieves isn't done yet. So all this stuff could be added in. And this is where all of our feedback comes into play. So if you like this list, please smash that thumbs up button down below. And if there's more things that you would like to see added, please throw it down in the comments and I can compile them all together and maybe make a list of what all the players would like to see as well. So for now, I'm Roughneck2Charlie, and I will see you very soon.